Those are my glasses dropping. For the center of the galaxy, I'm not on mute anymore. This is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars pop culture, the ultimate adventure, covering Star Wars news on a Monday. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw, and I was talking to my dad about what just happened there, Ken, with your glasses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he recently got surgery, and now he needs reading glasses for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, people put them on a string for a reason. He's like, I'm not putting glasses on a string around my neck. It's fine if I need them, but I'm not putting a string on them. I'm like, but look, they fall. You forget them places. We're
getting there because I've had contacts and glasses since the 10th grade, so I'm used to spectacles and all that good stuff. But the thing that needs to come on and off, I was at dinner the other night and I couldn't order. So yeah, me and your dad stringing glasses around our necks there.
Pro tip to the youngins, take a picture of your menu, and then you can zoom in the photo.
Zoom it in, indeed. We are here to talk Star Wars news live on a Monday, and since we got some fun stories to discuss, but at the end of the show, we've left a little time today for your questions or comments related to the stories we're talking about. Comment all through the show, as you often all do. Our regulars are here. But if you have something specific, and I'm borrowing this for what we do over with Pat Conkey at Culture, Faith, and Politics, go ahead and put like, hey, FC in all caps in front. So while we're going through the show, we can save that a little more easier for the end of the show. It's maybe another side of being old, Joseph. You're producing a live show. And you're like, yeah. So before we dive into the news of the day, as always, we'd like to remind you that today's podcast and broadcast is brought to you by our merch shop on Fourth Wall. If you watch it live on YouTube, there's links down below or later. You can go ahead and pick up something to support us and represent ForceCenter out in the wild, or hey, Star Wars Celebration Los Angeles. It's never too soon to get ready for that, including saving all your money after you buy a t-shirt to come on out to Los Angeles. You can go to our shop, fourthwall-forcecenter.com, fourthwall-forcecenter.com. And we are still holding steady as we race towards our next goal on Patreon.
That is right. We are building to a goal of 415 patrons. Did we still forgot to come up with an end date for that? Building to 415 paid patrons by the time of Acolyte Season 2. No, we'll come up with what may or may not be a more realistic. But how about this? 415 paid patrons by the time they announce the release date of Mandalorian Grogu on streaming.
Yes.
There we go. It's super easy to remember. Great branding. Yes. Anyway,
there you go.
Big picture. Thank you to everyone who has joined us on Patreon. We're really thrilled with the increased numbers, and we're really thrilled with the new additions to our community.
Yeah, and thank you for being here live or watching later on the podcast feed and on Friday's shows. We're having a lot of fun. You all calling in, and that's going to continue for a while. And we'll do a little life adventure update. You've got some news that is announced, Joseph. I want you to hopefully share. I'm not going to force you to share in your life adventures, but also means we're going to have a busy ForceCenter summer. So plus some cons happening. I'll be down in San Diego. Just confirmed a big comedy show will be there on for Comic-Con. So a lot of stuff. So bear with us as maybe we lean live a little bit more and work on some other things with us here as we keep ForceCenter going towards 2027. And for Life Adventures, it's Star Wars and how Star Wars found me. It was a little quieter week. Been watching Indiana Jones still my Indiana Jones kick right now. And I'm accidentally working in reverse. I did Dial of Destiny straight into Crystal Skull. Now watching Last Crusade. I guess technically I'll have to go to Raiders and then go to Temple. But it's been a lot of fun. And just a reminder of how much I love spending time with that character, except apparently in first-person video game form, which I recently did try Great Circles, I mentioned, and still not good at it. Maybe if I get some time learning how to control those fists and whips and stuff in front of me. I don't know.
So it's just like a total first-person mechanics thing?
Yeah. And I know some people prefer that, so this isn't a battle. This isn't AT-AT versus AT-AT. This is just, I don't do well. I think I played sports games, most video games my whole life, where I'm used to seeing the players and in most other games, Fortnite, Red Dead, all that stuff. I can't. You're hopping. All I see is my fists as I hop around.
Now that sounds like heaven to me because I'm more used to first person. As long as you
should.
can still invert the y-axis. I mean, it's really
I'm sure you could.
those are the signs of my age. I have opinions about reading glasses, and I need to invert my y-axis in order to play video games.
You did like GoldenEye first person. Didn't have a problem, you know. And again, I'm sure I could adjust. It's not like a preference. It's just my brain is like, we are not doing this today. We can't do this.
Yeah. Well, as our friend David points out, real life is first person, and you're playing video games for escapism. You're playing video games for the idea of, what if I was floating above and could see myself and my environment and all my choices and my friends and have better clarity instead of just being trapped behind my own eyeballs, looking only at my fists.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, the real life is also like the video game where I'm just stuck in a museum with Marcus Brody for hours until I figure out how to get out. That's what it is. We're gonna get to news in a second, but your life adventures are pretty big. Anything going on, sir?
Yeah. Really thrilled to finally be able to talk about this. The horror film that I made with a bunch of great people called Dead Media has been picked up for distribution by a great company called Antenna Releasing. Antenna is a newer company, and they've basically just got a really great model toward releasing indie films of, let's make them a celebration. Let's make going to the theater an event. Streaming is a part of what they do, but they're also huge fans of physical media. One of the co-owners of Antenna, Ryan Varel, also has a magazine called The Physical Media Advocate. So there's great partners for Dead Media. And their big thing that they want to do is they want to do road shows, like events. So they book a tour and work with a bunch of theaters that like to show indie films, and directors come from intros and Q&As and other bells and whistles. So it's like an event, not just like a screening, but an event, and do a road show before it goes on streaming. So people are excited to learn about it and all that kind of thing. So there's going to be a road show for Dead Media coming up in July. All the locations and dates and tickets will be announced soon, and I will be very, very, very loud about that. There will be some streaming opportunities for Old Dead Media, and in the coming months from now, there will be for sure a physical media release, which is great because Dead Media is a movie about a haunted DVD, and that is the first question everybody asks. Will there be a DVD? And the answer is yes. So very, very excited for it. In this, the roadshow is just the beginning, to quote good old Count Dooku, and there will be more and continued screenings as well. And then I know the general itinerary, but I don't know my exact schedule yet, Ken, for the roadshow. So we have given Detective McCarcel a lot of crap for calling in from the car, but I might need to do some episodes of ForceCenter from a moving car, if that's okay with you.
As long as you're not driving.
No.
You know, as long as your driver is tethered to and you're safe, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. We'll make it work indeed. Congratulations. It's probably been the hardest part of making the film is the business of it after you've done, all your making of the film. So this is a big step forward.
Yeah, no, I know it comes up a lot on ForceCenter. Hey, it'll probably come up today when we talk about the Acolyte. It's called show business. There's the creative side, and then there's the side of how do you get it to people? How do you share it to people with people? So it is in some ways it's great to get into the business side of sharing it with folks. And again, thank you to the ForceCenter community. Everyone has always been supportive of the various film projects I've done, and super supportive of Dead Media in particular. And I feel like everyone in this community has been with me and with us on the journey of making it, and I have felt so supported. So thank you all so much for that.
There you go. And David McKay says, Belfast is a film festival. and if that happens, you're going to need someone there, Joseph, to intro the film and intro you. So I'm available for trips to Belfast if anyone wants to.
No, as much as I can rope Ken into live shows, I'm doing it.
There we go. All right, let's get into some Star Wars news. And because I'm now using a different browser, I have to go to the other browser. All right, here we go. Let's dive in. Not a lot of news this week. In the post Mando and Grogu release haze you're going to kind of build up a little bit later with the news. But some interesting stuff that came out regarding Leslye Headland and the Acolyte Season 2. Leslye Headland spoke with Empire, and I double-checked, or I looked, and like, I couldn't see if she was promoting anything. Was it just a conversation about Star Wars? I didn't get that full context. I apologize for that there. But she answered pretty plainly on whether or not she would come back for a second season of The Acolyte. I'm going to go through all her quotes and we'll dive in after. She said, I would still want to do it. Absolutely. As more people discover it, I think people may want to see some form of the story come back. We did have a lot of stuff that we wanted to explore, including tying in lore to the sequels, getting into who exactly Manny's character is, his connection with Jedi Master Vernesta Rowe, his connections with Plagueis, and then his connection with other sequel-established things. And then she also discussed the binge model. And here's what she said. It was designed that way, end quote. Meaning, the article set up like, hey, now you can just watch it in binge style on Disney Plus. Leslie closed by talking about how anything is possible in Star Wars. I like this quote: the weather changes in Star Wars. There was a real negative reaction to the prequels, especially from a particular generation. I don't know who she's talking about. And 25 years later, Hayden Christensen is that celebration. Trust in the Force. All right, Joseph, let's dive in. We'll start with the last part and work it in reverse, like we're a Willy Wonka riddle. The weather does change in Star Wars. The Acolyte watch minutes are high these days. We know it was connected, I think, to the end of Maul, right? So you finish Maul, that would pop up. So, Joseph, what do we think about the business wins, though? Would they change enough to get more Acolyte made, and what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. One quick thought about people finding the Acolyte. I do think it's really interesting that the numbers have shot up in general, but in particular, after, hey, people are watching Maul and enjoying it, and then that's what pops up. Because I think it goes to a lot of what we've discussed about expectations. When it first comes out, there's a big push, and people watch it really hoping for it to be what they want it to be, or they watch it, with their arms crossed, expecting it to not be. And I think there's just something so fascinating about people watching one show. Hey, I never got around to watching that Acolyte. It's not under the spotlight, and so it's just a thing I'm watching.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting to me. We've had so much discussion here between us and with the community about the trailers for Mando and Grogu, and how much do we want trailers? How much we want expectations to be shaped versus do we sometimes just enjoy art more when it's just like, didn't think about this at all. It was an impulse click at 1 a.m. after I watched Maul, and I just accepted the story for what it was without any preconceived notions. Fascinated by that. And I'd love to hear from anybody who just watched it without any baggage.
Yeah, what's funny is I was watching something. I'm watching Hello Tomorrow, which I don't even think has a second season. I don't even know when it came out. Billy Crudup, and same thing. It's not a Star Wars. It's not IP. I get it, but I'm just like, what's this? We're watching it. Me and Taffet are watching it, and I'm just having fun because it's just like you said. It's a thing. I clicked the button on. So yeah, and she's some of the stuff she's talking about is like some of the stuff maybe we lament of the old days, of the streaming days, of the pre-streaming days. And I know we're not going back. We were sometimes seems like we're recreating cable television, but when shows had a chance, season ones of shows are notoriously less watched, and then they grow, and then Seinfeld finds its audience in the third season, blah blah blah. Those kind of same examples that are used. There's no guarantee that Acolyte or any other Star Wars show that was cut early, or any other streaming show in general that's cut early, would get that. I get it's different times, but that to me is also what's happening too. When you said the numbers are up, it's tagged on the end of a Maul, and a lot of people are just like, I don't know, I don't listen to 30 Star Wars podcasts. I don't know this. I like it for what I like it as, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I wasn't given the pamphlet on why I need to hate or love this. I just watched the damn thing. The Acolyte, the cheers of Star Wars. So anyway, thank you for letting me totally not answer your initial question. But your initial question about business-wise, could this happen? I kind of think anything is possible right now. I think anything is always possible in Hollywood, because everybody, the phrase that people trade around is that everybody thinks they know everything, but nobody knows anything, and everything changes. I think the future of live action Star Wars on streaming is so ambiguous. All we know is Ahsoka season 2 is coming out in 2027. Nothing else has been announced. Do they want to do more live action? Have they decided Star Wars belongs in the theaters? Have they decided to do the, much discussed, we'll do a streaming movie that's a smaller budget? The other thing about it, which I have zero speculations, but I think it's just a good thing to always keep in mind. All these creators are also just like co-workers. So what I'm not in any way insinuating that there is any beef or anything, but like, what's the relationship between Dave Filoni, Lin-Manuel Brennan, and Leslye Headland? Are they all like, we all got along and everything went smooth with Leslye and we love it and we love, the vibe? I think that makes a big difference too. And again, I'm not insinuating that there is a problem. I'm just saying that is one of the things that's kind of a bonus to hit, is when the relationships are smooth.
Yeah, when you like working with someone, right? When you like having them, when you like, that's casting. As you cast your movies, it's not just their talent, but do I want to be on set with this person for 10 or 11 hours a day? It's a lot of
yes.
a lot of this town. It's a lot of this town that we're in, and I think that's part of the reason that we got Kinberg back in the fold. Is Filoni and Carrie Beck going, we love working with this guy. We were supposed to do more with this guy. This guy helped a lot. Great Rebel stuff. Let's do it. Like, absolutely, it helps. And yeah, we don't know either way. We don't know if it's the best buds or just passing in hallways or whatever it is. But I think that could factor in as well. So, yeah, if dreaming, if we will, if it returns. What would we want to see? I'll start with some simple binary options, but we can go anywhere with this discussion. Joseph, season 2 or a streaming special, aka a TV movie.
Yeah, I think my most honest answer is whatever is best for the story.
Right.
But as we'll get into more when we talk about the whole binge quote, I just kind of feel like maybe a movie, or like a 2-part or 3-part limited series event. Like, I mean, really go back to the old days. Like, what's the Clavel book that recently had a new adaptation? Why am I spacing on the name of it? Anyway, but like they used to do back in the day for broadcast television, of like, there's a Monday night movie, and there's a first part and a second part, and maybe a third part if it's really big. A Shogun, thank you. Yeah.
Shogun.
Like Shogun back in the day, right? Ooh, this is like, I think that there'd be some value in that, because I do think there's just continues to be a strain of, is the streaming economics set up to do television? And we've talked a lot about Mandalorian and Grogu is structured like television. I think all of the other Star Wars shows, there's a little bit of a strain there.
Yeah, I mean, I asked this question. I don't really know the answer. I think the best thing for the story might be season 2, but then I'm like, I don't know. I kind of wouldn't mind like a little movie event, but I don't know. I hate to have this mindset, but I'm like, I don't know what the shareholder value is in that. I don't know.
Well, I don't know what the
subscription thing is.
I don't know what the shareholder value is in anything. Like, I get it if something is a massive hit like Mandalorian and Grogu, and it drives people to sign up and to come back, and then it drives merch. But like the number, if it was the old days and they had canceled Acolyte but put it out on DVD, and the DVD sales were through the roof, then there's actual money. But like, if people are already subscribed to Disney Plus, they're already watching Maul, and the numbers are going up because they're watching Acolyte, what do they perceive financial value to those increased numbers?
Right. I don't know. Yeah. And obviously we're not in those meetings. I don't know. It's still a big machine. In terms of just like what I'd want from this property, this story, this section of the Star Wars galaxy, if it was to return, obviously we're going to talk about what it might answer. And we're talking about the style of writing, but I just, just give me, I'd like to maybe to know this is what we got. We got 6 episodes to finish the story, 6 episodes to get to where we want to. They didn't know that. Not their fault in some of the writing, but again, we'll talk about specifics here in a second. But you know what I mean? We're like, That's the only thing I want. I would not want to be like, the show's back, but just like the show is back for a limited run. The show is back for a series of films or something like that on Disney Plus. I just hope for the creative team, they'd know what they have to play with.
Yeah, and a lot of folks in the chat are saying, and folks have said before, of like bringing the show back and resolving the story, because it was so deeply unfinished, in my opinion, is about building trust with the audience. So I think it would be a long way to say, like, okay, we're not doing another season to see how many seasons it can run. We're doing a 3 90-minute episode summer event in summer of 2028 to finish the story that you demanded, and just to have that clarity with the audience, because I think clarity has also been lacking, because in broadcast days we knew, hey, a show comes on and then the goal is to keep it on as long as, Toyota will give ABC money for commercials. That's the goal. And now it's sort of like we've lost that clarity of like, will you finish stories or not?
Yeah. Or, you cancel Colbert, but he has to stay on for a year because you pre-sold all your advertising. You can't lose it. Yeah. Yep. I want to talk a little bit about the binge factors. I feel myself stepping onto my own future question here. She says that, what it's designed to be watched that way. And I wanted to dive in because I think it all ties in. It's the business and how you tell the story and how you get the answers. And you and I are both just touching upon that there. What's your reaction to hearing the show? It was designed to be streamed, and I'll stop there. I'm not going to lead you anywhere. I'm not going to lead you anywhere. You take that where you want to go.
Yeah, I have to admit, I don't know exactly. I would be thrilled to have someone ask Leslye Headland the follow-up question of like, in what way? And not in a gotcha, but I love Leslye Headland interview. She is extremely thoughtful, but I would just love to understand better, because I'm just totally speculating.
Yeah.
My first speculation is, we know it was pitched as a film, and I think several of the Star Wars Disney Plus shows were pitched as films, and I feel like you can still feel that in their structure. I love the Kenobi show, but I feel you can feel a little bit of strain. I think Skeleton Crew landed the ship really well, but that's an absolute 3-act movie structure, and I think they did a good job being like, oh, cool, we can spend a little bit more time with each character. This is totally an opinion thing. I think like Kenobi and Acolyte, there's some places where you can feel kind of the strain to be like, still got the structure of a movie, but let's kind of make it feel a little bit more like an episodic television show that's telling one big story. So I wonder if some of it is like, it was always this one story that was meant to kind of flow in one sitting. And then we tried to kind of space it out structurally to be a television show. And then we know from interviews with writers, for budgetary reasons, we kind of had to cut episodes in places we maybe didn't intend to narratively, but we had to. So I wonder if she's thinking about it was meant to be streamed, in that it wasn't, you were never meant to wonder, is Chimera the Stranger for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or however many we were. And I think what it landed with lots of us, I didn't care because I thought he was, and just about everybody thought he was, and I was like, it didn't feel to me like it was built to be a mystery where it was trying to surprise me. I didn't feel like I needed Sherlock Holmes to explain how'd that happen. But just by creating the mystery, when you have weeks off, you create speculation. So I'm wondering if some of the tension of things like that were like, it was never meant to be a mystery that you contemplate for weeks and discuss for hours on podcasts.
I understand what you're saying. I think I really agree with that there. I'm trying to think of the examples. You and I think have been vocal, almost to the point of even ForceCenter friends telling me to chill out. But like, I despise that season 1 ending of Andor in the middle arc that he's doing his homework while he eats a snack. I just think it's pretentious. I think it's bad, and I just don't like it. But I also know that it's sometimes not even fair to lob those kind of criticisms at the shows when they have those mandates. They have the budget mandates. I've mentioned this before. Second season of House of Dragon ends on a absolutely just bleh. And that is because HBO said you cannot afford the big battle you're building to. That's got to go to the next season. And that starts on June 21st, and it starts with a battle, and that's great. But everyone was like, this ending sucks. And the Ryan Condon will be like, yeah, Does. Not our plan. That's always been the reality. Show business, as you and I said. I learned that lesson. Just complaining on about this episode was a little smaller. Talking about Rebels and having even Steven Stanton say, "Yeah, that episode's smaller, so you can have the big episode. There are budgets." So I know they can't do it. I think the Acolyte got hurt more than any other shows, and there's a lot of big conversation around the Acolyte. In that, I still run into folks, God bless them, who love the show, have taken the wrong message from it because they forget that there was an episode 6. They're just quoting and sometimes misquoting Carrie Ann Moss's character's comments on the Jedi and what they can or cannot do. They're misquoting and misunderstanding, and they're not picking up the other thread because the show was designed to kind of flow. And I think you're right too. Even I was I remember a little grumpy on Chimere, including the performance in the beginning, because I'm just like, what's going on? But the mystery isn't the thing; it's the journey. It's the journey around it. It's not always. That's why sometimes nothing happened, or I knew that was happening. Yes, that's the point. The characters didn't, so the story is their reaction to that. Their story is the journey, and I think the show was hurt a little bit by having to play within the streaming confines.
I think so too, and I think I know it impacted me. My sort of frustration with the amount of story per week was probably at its highest for Acolyte, and that's not Acolyte's fault creatively, but I think the cliffhanger with Chimere showing up, we talk about all the time. It's the Dracula move, or the stranger showing up, the Dracula move, fantastic, right? But you've kind of been waiting for the whole episode for him to show up because from the trailers he's going to show up. The next thing that's going to happen is the big force push he does to all the Jedi because we saw that in the trailers 1,000 times. And so I really, really worked hard to tap into calm Jedi energy, but I had to do breathing exercises because it's really frustrating to sort of end on this moment of I feel like I spent, I went to Smokehouse and I enjoyed my drink, and right when they were going to serve me my food, they're like, come back next week for the meal. And I don't think I'd feel that way at all if I just watched it in a flow on streaming.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll look what they did with Andor season 2, which by all accounts, I think Gilroy and the team were like, that wasn't the plan when we wrote them or put them together, but it worked nice. I don't know if there were some lesson learned. I'd love to know a little bit of the decisions behind that. We need a fly in the wall to kind of share that information. Though they don't like leaks there. I know. Now I don't even think I'm talking about the Acolyte. I'm just talking about the overall approach. And I like, and mysteries and who's that? And oh my gosh, and cliffhangers ain't new. They've been around a long time. I just think there was in the past, each episode did its best to be something on its own and stand on its own. And a lot of shows now maybe struggle under the weight of that larger conversation, but interesting about the Acolyte there. So any final thoughts on that before I press on into the connections?
I'm glad that people are able to just binge it and have maybe an even better experience than some of us did who got frustrated by the weekly drop. I think that's fantastic, and the first viewing is special and the first viewing makes an impact, but that's not how the thing lives on. So I'm glad. I'm glad that Leslye Headland feels like people are seeing it the way the team meant it to be seen.
Yeah, and again, I'm someone who has been like, no, do it weekly. What are you talking about? You're losing the hype, and podcasters have to do all 9 episodes at once. Woe is us. But when you put together a story a certain way, and it hurts it a little bit. I get it. I get it. All right, looking at the show, I should say, looking back, the cancellation of the show did leave a lot of stories unfinished, and she ran through it, and when she even just ran through the list of what the connection of the sequels, what exactly is going on with the Stranger, his connection to Vanessa Rowe. How old is the Stranger? I still think Chimere could be older than he appears. The connection with Plagueis, huge. We get this big reveal, and we don't get to see it. And then, as she says, the connection with other sequel established things. So what are some of your favorites, some of the thoughts going forward if it were to come back and that you want answered? We did this on Friday a little bit with a call-in show about all unfinished stories in Star Wars. Great answers by the audience, but a lot of it was around the Acolyte. That's a lot, Joseph. What would you like, and what do you want to answer? What's your biggest question?
Yeah, I think that I was wishing that I had time this morning to dig out the notes that I wrote up for our discussion of the final episode of Acolyte, because I remember I wrote down like every question that I had, and there was something like 24 of them. And I, one of the frustrations with Acolyte is it really feels like chapter 1 in the saga of the Acolyte.
Totally
And,
does. Yeah.
you know, so much meaning is contained in the end of things. So here I have this weird push-pull of, I think in some ways the stranger and all of those questions are the things that I'm most interested in. And obviously Osha left off with the stranger, so she's part of that story. But I also think a part of what's going on for me with Acolyte is Osha and May are the main characters. And I think there's a little bit of a phenomenon of some of the other characters in situations and talking points have maybe overshadowed the main characters.
Yeah.
And I think so. A part of me is like, I love the stranger. I want to know how Yoda handles things. I want to know how Vernestra handles things. I want to know how their morality about this situation ties into the events of the prequels and the Jedi's relationship, and confirm that Coyote Money got lied to, and that's why he's so certain about the Sith, and blah, 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 blah. And Darth Plague gets this, and Darth Plague gets that, and all sorts of stuff that I still want to talk about. But I think my biggest picture thing is I feel like the arc of the show, the heart of the show, Osha and May are the main characters, and they are these just these two human beings who are not asked to be sort of born of any special power, but they were born of this special power, and their family drilled into them that they have responsibility and purpose. They have desires, they have tragedies, and they set out, and they both get sort of wrapped up in the competing perspectives and dogma of the Jedi and Sith organizations. And then I think one of the most interesting things about Acolyte is they're trying to make their way back to each other. They're trying to love one another and give one another the lives and the freedoms that they want. And they have this like very old school tragedy of like, whoops, by the end, we have simply swapped which of the dogmas we're caught up in. You know, May is, you know, with the Jedi now. Osha is willingly with the stranger. And you can debate whether or not the stranger is technically a Sith right now. But in my opinion, Darth Plagueis is peeking his head out. Like, she's caught up in the dogma of the Sith because the Acolyte is still, the stranger is still following it.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things is, I think as it stands, the Acolyte is the darkest piece of Star Wars storytelling because it just ends on a tragedy.
Yeah.
Of these two women, these two individuals who deserve freedom and agency, are trapped again. Up to a point. People disagree with me about how trapped Osha is in her choice, and I really want to acknowledge that because I think it's totally subjective. So the biggest thing for me is finish Osha and May's story and tell me, what does it say about the agency of individuals? What does it say about where the Jedi and the Sith are at this point in time? What does it say about Yoda, how he handles their story? I want Osha and May's story to be resolved because it feels like the beating heart of what is actually being said.
I'm glad you said that because I absolutely think in many ways Stranger stole the show, which happens, right? You know, that happens. Secondary character, and he's not a secondary character, but you know what I mean? This happens, that happens. But even I hadn't stopped until today to really, like, I put technically May on the thumbnail today. But like I didn't stop to think of those two characters involved. There's so many other things going on in the story in the show, which are fun to play with. But yeah, you're right. They are the center. They are what's driving it, and where it ends is really, you know, I think wonderfully kind of twisted and dark, and what I would want to explore more than anything else. That's the biggest answer, is Osha and May and their journey forward. So I think that's great to point it out. A good reminder.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, the show had a lot going on. It had a little bit of at first it's a sort of like murder mystery of who is really murdering these Jedi. Oh, it's May. And okay, so but what really happened with this, between this coven and the Jedi? How subjective is it, and how much is the show going to say this is truth, or is this all about different points of view? Soul was a main character, and I thought he was fantastic. but he's gone now. And then the stranger is kind of running in the background, but he's kind of the most fascinating character. It had so much going on. And this is part of the reason I just would be like, I would love whatever the second installment is to just be laser focused on. Here's Osha's path forward with the Jedi, or rather, here's Osha's path forward with the stranger. Here's May's path forward with the Jedi, and not have that sort of mix of like, well, it's kind of a murder mystery, and there's some ambiguity about who we're really following as the main character.
Maybe that's the pitch. Maybe that's pitch. 2 movie events on Disney Plus. One, The Tale of Osha. The other, Tale of May. But you can also watch them side by side and they go in and out.
Yeah, and then The Tale of Osha and May. Yeah. So anyway, all that said, the stranger, his age is I remember talking about that. That is in as I recall, I don't have the direct dialogue in front of me. Like, it's pretty direct that he is not the age, that he cannot possibly be the age he appears to be.
Yeah.
So either he is some near human species who lives much longer. He's a Claudite, like Sam Wetzel.
He's a Dunedain Ranger with Aragorn.
Yeah. Or, he has done something unnatural within the dark side, like, biceps. The Force is a pathway to many biceps that are unnatural. That is really fascinating to me because it's just a cool new Star Wars idea.
Yeah, and I think the connection to the sequels that she's mentioned, there's possibly a lot more, but I think we're running up against the Knights of Ren, or run up to the Knights of Ren, and I know they've been touched upon a lot in the comics, and I think they're visually wonderful characters. We did not get to spend a lot of time with them in 7 and 9, and I personally don't think we need to, but I think now, or getting the whole story of that, would be absolutely a fun thing, an absolutely fun thing, and I love that she wanted to play with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that would be really fantastic to tie it all together. And there was the use of the Kylo Ren theme, right? So like in the helmet similarity and all that. Other people in chat have brought up in terms of sequel connection. Do you think they're going anywhere with the dyad of Rey and Kylo, with exactly what is Osha and May's relationship, their existence?
Yeah, and the the kind of not born of the Force, but born with the Force kind of thing there. Yeah, I think that'd be a fun thing to explore. As much as I love Rise of Skywalker, as everyone knows, and I'll fight it on YouTube shows and in bars. But I'd like to know more about that. It does play as a little out of left field, which I have no problem, because so did Force Lightning in 1983. But it's a big concept at the center of the end of that film. So if you want to play with it more and get to find ways to connect it or explore its beginnings, I'm absolutely there for that. That's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, and I know that obviously there was lots of consternation about the relationship between the creation of Osha and May and the creation of Anakin, and I know lots of people have very strong opinions about the specificity of that. Even in the Legends novel, Plagueis was attempting to create life, but it was the Force that created Anakin, not Plagueis. Even in the Legends novel, Darth Plagueis. But I think there's plenty of ambiguity in the modern Star Wars canon. But in the Acolyte, the idea of like let's will life into existence in this different kind of way with the Force, I think is really fascinating.
Yeah. That's some people put it out. Just Eric say the art book or the resource book said Kyber kept the bottle of some kind of serum that keeps his skin youthful. Rocket Bottle comes back with Kyber did hide it in an apothecary shop after all. He's making all kinds of rejuvenating salves. I love this idea.
Yeah, I do want it to be more than just skincare. I want it to be evil dark side skincare that he's making, like dark potions that he learned from a Night Sister He mentioned some cryptic comment about his relationship with the witches, I think, at some point, or his knowledge of them. So maybe he stole the skincare ingredients from a Force sensitive coven at some time. It's funny when a new idea is introduced to Star Wars, and then people kind of have to work through of, does that break anything, like the Holdo maneuver in The Last Jedi, and we've had lengthy discussions of yes, there's lots of logistical reasons why people just wouldn't fly ships into each other all the time, because that's blah blah blah. I love the idea of if another season came out and it is Chimeras just like, yeah, I have the most amazing skin cream. Then the whole thing, well, why didn't Obi-Wan use that when he was baking alive on Tatooine under Twin Suns? Why he can't?
Yeah.
Obi-Wan couldn't access that? Like, who all couldn't have that skin? Han didn't get that skincare. He could have been in great shape before Sweet. Like
that would be a headline over at CVR or Screen Rant. Star Wars destroys own canon with Sith skin serum, or as Rock Bottle Art called it, oil of Oslay. I think that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And for me, the biggest, I think the Plagueis thing is, because that character, has been. I enjoy Lucido's now non-canon book. I think it's one of my favorite of the non-canon era. I think it's an intriguing character. The figure sits on my shelf right now, including his staff, which we've still never seen, even though entire careers were based on guessing when that would show up. I love the idea of Plagueis coming back. That's great. But above that, at the end of this show, Joseph, like the Coen brothers burn after reading, when the character played by David Rashi runs up the hall back to J.K. Simmons, Vernestra Rowe going back to Yoda. Yeah, boss, we gone done messed up. Where do we go from there? A fascinating thing I would love to have seen play on.
Yeah, and as I recall, we aren't given an on-screen clarification for why Vernestra made the choice to frame Soul.
Right.
In my take, and I would love to have the storytellers tell me what the truth is, but my take is she decided it was too dangerous to let the galaxy know about the Sith, to the point where she would want to frame this person,
right,
who made Soul made some mistakes. I'll get a t-shirt made that said Soul made some mistakes. I'm a little easier on him than some folks, but I like him. But why would Vernestra be willing to frame this man, especially when the Jedi are being looked at? It's like I think it is that she gives Rayencourt a little bit of what he thinks he wants, so he won't look deeper, right? And then so I think going to Yoda about it, and I think that does make all the Ki-Adi-Mundi stuff very interesting, because it does seem, jokes aside about Ki-Adi-Mundi, it does seem like the agreed upon understanding that the Sith have not returned. And it would be interesting to me if Yoda's like, maybe we need to run this down, but we're under a lot of scrutiny, so we need to handle this internally ourselves. And that story feels like that's not the end. That's the beginning of a new chapter, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just like the end of Burn After Reading. Pay her. Just pay her. I'm a big fan of that movie, y'all.
I am too. You watched it like a year ago on a plane, and it's so at the end, like, so what happened?
What did we learn? Nothing. Love that film. We could do
we could do Coen Center for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So there you go. That's some of what we want. We'll get some final thoughts here from us here. But in chat, also, by the way, remember, if you want to ask us a specific question, we'll have time a little bit here at the end. Post in the comments. We pulled some, but start with all caps, Hey FC, so I can see it and Joseph can see it at the corner of our eyes as the chat rolls up while we're talking. And sometimes I'm looking at my show notes on another page. So if you have any specific things to this, anything that we're about to talk about. So any final thoughts on the Acolyte of it all, Joseph?
No, I think every time we get into talking about it, I think I'm reminded how many interesting ideas and unresolved questions. And I feel like I really do want the story to be resolved. And frankly, I'm thrilled to hear just the quote from Leslye Headland that she's up for it.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Yes, I think we should address that, because she put her just heart and soul into this. I'm a big fan of her work and what she thought about it. I thought about working in Star Wars and finally getting a chance, a prequel kid, kind of getting a chance to bring people up the elevator with her, which she did. It's a tremendously diverse show, which I know a lot of people feel might have had to do with the cancellation, and I definitely not here to argue that. I agree with that. But the fact that she would be like, the Eagles got back together in the 90s. Fleetwood Mac got back to. Everyone can get back together. Everyone can get back together. And I hope I would like to see the chance. The show for me, was something I was looking forward to. I think it hits mostly. I think there's some little things that I kind of quibble with. Also, just some of the editing, some of the things I didn't enjoy as much as other people did. But at the end of the day, I thought this show asked wonderful questions, and I'd love it to get answered, just so we could all get some clarity on the actual stance of the Jedi. This show being used to hurt the Jedi in the fandom is something that annoys me to this day. And I just think the show didn't get a chance to answer the interesting questions it asked.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very honest. That is one of my struggles with the show. Is I think, for my taste, the show is a little too hard on the Jedi. But I also feel like the show didn't finish its sentence. I feel like it's a compound sentence, and he said, "Here's some stuff the Jedi did. A lot of it wasn't great." Breath for the rest of the sentence and canceled. And that is one of the reasons that I'd really like to see, like, what is your full thought on the Jedi?
Yeah, and that's something that time passed on. I got to make sure not to hold against the show. I do think it goes hard in the paint on the Jedi, and I think that left a lot of misinterpretations. I have a person I've seen now twice who I like, but on air has said, well, you know, the show proved that Jedi just kidnap kids, and they're allowed to do that. And Carrie Ann Moss's character says that, and that she did not say that. Number one, and two, the Jedi literally said no, leave the kids. You can't. Remember the end of it. Remember 2 episodes later. And I would like some clarity from that show, that story.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And the action was fantastic. And so bring that back.
We're going to move into some Star Wars video games. But Joseph, you were busy Friday. Okay. So I want to get this is unplanned, folks. I want to get your reactions to 2 photos I'm going to share. Okay. 2 photos, and I want to get your reactions. We talked about this on Friday, but we need your takes in public. Shot 1. Okay. And shot 2. What do you think about George Lucas aura farming as he looks to open up the museum?
I think that photographer deserves all photography awards. Which publication was this? Was this Vanity Fair?
I think it was Vanity Fair.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, that's the kind of photo shoot normally where, like, here we are at Margot Robbie's apartment, and she's got 8 outfit changes and puts herself across the way she wants to. And like, George, can we get you in 2 different poses that aren't just staring directly down the camera lens while wearing a flannel shirt? And she made it happen. They're so exciting. They're so exciting. I'm so excited for the museum. I mean, that one's really got great composition and energy, and it's a museum about narrative structure, and a lot of it of the visual storytelling of narrative structure, and the contrast between the importance of that image in the lower left, in him kind of looking the other way, that makes you want to bring them together and look at them like, he looks casual and like a visionary at the same time.
It's great.
And the other one is just like, look at that bike. Look what we did. Look what we did.
For the audio listeners, we're just looking at those photos.
Look at that wheel bike.
George staring at Grievous of the wheel bike. I love this. This one's my favorite because they got the lead, the arms folded. By the way, the flannel's gone, like you said. George flannel ain't here anymore, and he's unveiled some new sweatpant looks recently that I think are fantastic. He's still got the dad sneakers, which I think I'm bummed they're coming back, but I get it. I have comfortable footwear on today too. It's like he's looking back 25 years at Attack the Clones in this moment. Like, yes, I did it. This is what I gave to the world. This is my legacy.
And as I understand it, this is the first physically real version of that wheel bike, right? So it is some of his storytelling becoming physically manifest in the world in a way it has not been before. I'm so excited for the museum. I think it is such a great idea. And so far what I've seen coming out of it is just classic George Lucas, and obviously don't know as much about his wife, Melody Hobson, but it's her museum too. And I think the mix of the strident positions of art doesn't have a high and low, damn it. We've got some paintings from, high and lofty, revered artists, and we've got Grievous's wheel bike, and they both matter. And then also, as is, really reflected in the other image of, like, there is a strong thread of social justice, of all voices matter.
Yes. I cannot wait to go to this museum. And Joseph, maybe if we, set a goal on ForceCenter, I think wearing blue jeans is a sin. I don't own them anymore. Especially with white sneakers. I think it's a sin. But maybe if you and I set a goal, we will go to the premiere of the museum dressed in a black top, blue jeans, and white dad sneakers. Maybe we're just George. A little Lucas cosplay. We can do it. There we go. Our next story is a swing through Star Wars video games. I'll say I don't have a ton to say, and I don't know if Joseph, you had a time to take them in, but we're going to dive into them. Some people in the audience are excited for the games. We just got gameplay trailers over the weekend. I think on Friday was a big game event. Star Wars Galactic Racer, about a minute and 30 trailer there, and Star Wars Zero Company, which is the turn-based video game coming. Quick reactions, Joseph. I'll say mine. I'm in a weird spot with Star Wars video games where even the ones that I've loved, I liked a lot of Outlaws. I forgot I was playing it. I didn't go back and visit it. I'm not a fan of Fallen Order and Survivor as much as other people. I do love the characters. I love some of the story beats. It's just I've never been in full sync with Star Wars video games outside of I think the first two Lego ones and the Battlefronts, which are for different reasons, and I know not for everyone. So I come into that not with this bias. Like I'm excited for Galactic Racer. I think it's going to be a fun Saturday afternoon. Zero Company doesn't look for me. I still am chasing the perfect Star Wars video game for me, and especially if it's not first person. But where are you at with these trailers?
Yeah, I think I watched them both, and there's stuff that I really enjoyed in them. And it's weird I was such a gamer. I was such a huge gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Much of my time was dedicated to it. And now I don't have time to play, and I'm a little bit more picky about what I enjoy. So it's weird to sort of watch them as like, I feel like I'm watching it as like a sort of historian and a cheerleader of like, what will people who actually play these games feel about them? And I hope to get a chance to play them, especially like Galactic Racer, where it feels like, this isn't something where I'm going to get sucked in. I don't think I'll be playing Zero Company because Zero Company, the point of that trailer seems to me is like, would you like to spend just as much time making outfit choices and crew choices and weapon choices as you do actually playing the game? Then this game is for you. And no disrespect to people who really like to kit out. I think I've told the story before about my friend and I played all of Resident. I can't remember which. We played a couple of different multiplayer games together, and it was great. And then he invited me over to his place to get started on playing Resident Evil 5 together. And he spent 3 hours just kitting out. And I was like, I want to play. And I think we maybe played for 10 minutes. So I have some scars about kitting out time, choice making time versus gameplay time.
Yeah, we'll turn into general video game talk here. Yeah, as I've said before, I'm a big franchise motor, so I'll spend hours signing my baseball players or creating football players on Madden, and I'll still play the game. It doesn't translate to stuff like this as much. I do like it a little bit. Some of the first, I played the first Mass Effect, and you get to, this who's your team. So I'm not saying I wouldn't be interested, but yeah, there's just something about the game that is not connecting with me, but we have people in chat excited, and that's what this is all about. But Galactic Racer, I am excited for it, and a lot of people pointing out in chat. We know we got Sebulba, we know we got Ben Quadranaros, we got Griff Halloran from Star Wars Resistance. Love that pull. We love that show here. We love Steven Stead, so that's great. Hopefully he gets to voice the character. I wouldn't imagine him not, but that is good. And when I say it's a Saturday afternoon, I used to play like Gran Turismo every once in a while. I just, I like building my car and racing, and then it's lunch and I can go. And I'm less pulled in, and that's a good thing. And I think Star Wars games kind of need that for me. Outlaws required a lot of time and attention. Again, I love Kay Vess. I love the characters. I love playing Sabacc. It just didn't, in the end, connect with me as much as it did others. I love the characters. Love Cal Kestis. I love all the stuff's going on, Marin, everything. But it's a lot of investment. And for some reason, in Star Wars, as an old-time Star Wars guy like me, I just want to have an hour. That's why Battlefront, I think, worked. I wasn't worried about the story, the canon, anything. I get to fight in Jabba's palace. Let's do it. And this has a story, but let's race.
Yeah, I mean, I got way too addicted to Battlefront, but I loved, just being like, okay, I've finished all of my work or most of my work today. I'm just going to go ignite Rey's blade and run around Cloud City. It's fantastic. And for people, I think I have a weird relationship to Zero Company because in the height of my gaming, I would have lost my mind for that trailer because I think when you play games a lot, you want to disappear into the world and you want as much customization as humanly possible. So like that, okay, you've been given a mission and you get to choose who's coming with you, and then you can choose what they're wearing and what weapon they have, and whether or not they like ham sandwiches. Like, oh, awesome. I'm just not in that place. In contrast, like Galactic Racer, I know the announcement was story trailer, and I could be wrong, but it looked to me the story trailer was there'll be cutscenes to motivate each one of your races. Like, cool, great.
Yeah.
What I loved most about that trailer was that cross section of eras. Obviously, it's got the prequel love with all of the pod racers. You know, it's got the Ardinian from more modern Star Wars. The main character, Kester Bull, I was looking him up, is a Cascadag, who is one of these aliens that was designed for one of the sequel films. He was designed for Last Jedi. And then because they had a mask, they just threw him in the background of Solo, Kenobi, a bunch of the shows. And now he's Kester Bull. So you were seeing all that love of like, okay, we got the modern era, the prequel era. And then in this trailer, there's suddenly just that guy who pops up with an absolute 1970s porn stash, like he was in the briefing room in A New Hope, and like, there's the classic trilogy representation. A man who looks like he would star in a pornographic film with that mustache in the 1970s.
He looks a little like General Merrick from Rogue One, like it's his brother. Like his name's Ron with an apostrophe Jeremy Merrick or something.
Yeah.
Like I totally know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that there. All right, that's our look at Star Wars video games. Any final thoughts from you on video games? We're not trying to be bummers here. I play video games every night. I Fortnite with the best of them. I'm actually not that bad. So I'm not like an out of touch. Where does the jump button go? Like, I love my games. I love sitting there playing on my PlayStation 5. So I'm excited for these games for those that love them. And I'm absolutely going to be giving Racer a go. And I just hope I can control it better than I can on the remastered Racer 2 I had on my PlayStation 4, where I was like, I'm crashing every second.
Yeah, I think if Galactic Racer plays the way it looks, I think that's going to be the first one I give a try. And like I said, I like watching these, and I like hearing all the comments in the chat about how people are engaging with them, and I kind of like looking at them too as just sort of an analysis of where Star Wars is at, because as you and I have talked about many times, sometimes the video games is where more love comes, and seeing all the sequel era and Disney Lucasfilm era stuff is great.
Yeah, as Devin points out, they're both third person. That's good. Cowboys fan says, "Hey, the Star Wars Fallen Order and the sequel are worth the time. You two at Star Wars Outlet." Yeah, I finished all three of the games. I went to the end on all three of them. Not for me as much as other folks.
I love Fallen Order, and I just haven't had. I don't have a PS5 or whatever. What number are we on? The PS5.
5,
yeah. I don't have a 5 yet. Oh, I'll get on it.
Got to get on it. There, you got to invest, consume, capitalize, capital. All right, we do have some questions set aside. We're doing this thing today here. Brian Ward did point out this regarding the Acolyte. I want to see Basil and Kiadi-Mundi find Kiadi-Mundi's person.
The greatest mystery. What was Basil up to? That was truly the greatest mystery.
That's not my favorite. Songad, thank you for the super chat. They can call Acolyte Season 2 Hell Freezes Over. There we go, indeed. So as I was saying, if you have a question, some folks did do it here, like Dennis Gill says, "Hey, ForceCenter, why has Black Sun vanished from canon lately? They were huge in Legends and early canon, even with Maul's Shadow Lord era. They barely mention anywhere. What happened, Joseph, to Black Sun, the Prince Xizor of it all?"
Yeah, I can't think that there's a reason to sort of, because they did appear in the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah, they pop up.
But but they aren't around. Yeah, I feel like it could be that they're going to have a big presence in Maul Shadow Lord. Season 2, because obviously Maul's wants to. His stated goal is, I'm going to deal with, getting revenge and getting control over all of these organizations again. And he gets a little sidetracked with his mission to get Devin on his side. So I wonder if they'll be kind of a bigger foil for like season 2 of Maul. If there's like he and Devin are going to try to break Black Sun and get them back under Maul's thumb. Would be really interesting, because we haven't had as much storytelling with them. Maybe there's a little bit more elbow room I would more than anything, I would just love to see. It's been years since I've done any sort of deep dive on Shadows of the Empire, so I don't remember everything that was established about them. But I would love to see them get more details and specificity in modern canon.
Yeah, I think Maul Shadow Lord is the place to do it. I think prior to this, to me, I've kind of taken it as a fun reference at times, or hey, they're still out there, just like Dash Rendar's ship showing up, and somewhere up there's a vest with shoulder pads flying around. But I think it's growing, and I think it's you don't need to do it exactly, and I think that's one of the things I like about anyone in Star Wars, mostly Filoni, I think would get credit for, but I think there's other folks who probably have pitched, hey, what about this? What about that? And pulling them in a different way and using something that's established and well established in a way that fits not just new canon, but just fits the stories now. Because I think we're telling better stories in that era. So I think Maul Shadow Lord would absolutely be the place for it to really, really, really show up.
Yeah, I'd be thrilled with that.
So there we go.
Can I throw in this quick detour into Bond Center? Our friend Svetnik said Joseph needs a PS5 for 007 First Light before anything else. I have been seeing on social media on old Blue Sky some praise for First Light. So if anybody in the chat wants to let me know if they agree, if they think First Light is great. It has been years since I've played a really good James Bond game, and James Bond games were my biggest video game obsession, probably.
Yeah. And Eli Black Sun was in Outlaws as well. Absolutely, played in well. Yes. So Ethan, fan of let's see. I think I pulled some of the Gaz also highlighting Griff Halloran in the new race trailer. So I think that is good. Thank you. You got one?
No, I just more more votes of support for First Light.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm hearing good things. It's almost to a dangerous level. I think I'm forbidding you for getting it until your film's out there and you got a roadshow done and you're back. That should be a reward. Why didn't Joseph's film do good? Well, he never left his house. He played First Light the entire summer. Gaz, going back to the Acolyte, the Night Sister who possessed the Jedi, seemed to have been the only adult survivor. Would have thought her character would return in some capacity too. Mother Coral, we're talking about there. Yes, that's another one of the mysteries that is not discussed as much, and a big one.
Svetnik says that the First Light video game is fantastic. My favorite Bond game previously was Everything or Nothing, and thank you for sharing that. And can I bring this up because Everything or Nothing, you could play in third person.
Yes, indeed. Looking at other questions we pulled aside here. There we go. Gaz said, did you prefer the Andor season 2 3-episode release per week format versus season 1? Going back to our question about streaming. In the end, for me, I did. I think that would have helped with some of my grumpiness in season 1, which is such a tiny little complaint, and it's just my personal thing. I think it worked, and covering it on a podcast was a little more hard. Who gives a crap about us in terms of what's best for the story? So I think in the end, I did enjoy just the way they put it together. Even though they said it wasn't necessarily the plan, it just kind of. I'm not surprised some executives all the way up were like, Are these like 4 little movies? It seems like 4 little movies. Just to put them out as 4 little movies worked for me.
Yeah, I ended up preferring it a lot, and it was a busy time, and it was hard to watch them that fast and then do the podcast. And I expected to kind of have to work past that, and I didn't, because I just enjoyed them so much.
Right.
And I enjoyed the feeling of getting a complete meal, and I think that's the thing with some of our grumpiness about the cliffhangers. It sometimes it's the nature of the cliffhanger of like, will Andor do his homework is not a thrilling cliffhanger. But I think what television used to excel at is knowing that even if we're telling an ongoing story, this one episode needs to feel like a complete experience, a complete meal, even if it's only part of a story. And that Andor drop every week, they felt totally like that was the story of that year. That was the beginning and the middle and the end. That was the conflict. This was the stasis at the beginning of this year. This was the conflict. And this is what the characters are left feeling and worried about. And that by the end of this year and launching them into the next year, I just thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, no, it in the end really, really worked for me. Got Got Abraxas talking about Acolyte. It would be quite the twist if the stranger turns out to have been Plagueis' deposed master, not the other way around, as one might have assumed. Yeah. We just assume, but that skincare routine, he could be a lot older. He could have been the one in charge. We got Physics Buddy Joe using the Hey FC format. We're going to do that on live shows going forward so I can see things a little easier. And Joseph and I and Jennifer, when she's here, can pull them out. What are you planning to cover for the next almost year without any new Star Wars TV or movies? And of course, Vision's coming out. Great question. Some of this is a business meeting on air. We'll figure that out. We feel that, but I think we feel that ForceCenter's strength has always been diving deeper into the Star Wars stories, which means we can always revisit things and find stuff there for us. I think our community is strong in our live shows, especially the Friday call-in show, or you guys here live with our news. It was a chance to put us in front of you and interact with you. I think that could go through any dark times of Star Wars coverage, and also gearing up for 2027. By the way, unfortunately, it's going to be here faster than we know it. And the final thing, we don't cover the books as much as we used to, just a time thing. We're excited about Star Wars Legacy. And this is I working on an interview with Madeline Rue, the author, to get her on the channel with us here. Madeline and I go way back. Her first Star Wars story that she wrote was actually with me and Maude Garrett on Jedi Council. So her and I have been talking, but I have to go through the proper channels. And that's been it's going to happen, but they want me to submit all questions in advance, and I'm like, we don't do that here, but I'm going to have to and play the game. So,
yeah,
that's my take, Joseph. The business meeting continues with you.
I did see that there was that the first episode of the Vision show is going to be shown soon at a convention, right? At an animation convention. Which left people speculating that maybe summer, so maybe soon. Yeah, we're very interested to find out whether that's a by the week thing or if that's a binge drop. And I don't think ForceCenter has ever been in the position to review a binge drop show. So I mean, I will see how we handle it. I definitely want to discuss that show because I'm really interested in the Ninth Jedi and really like that world and really fascinated by this move to spin off. There's a couple things we've been working on. We started our series of our Star Wars ranked episodes of favorite scenes in the Star Wars films, and I would love to finish that. We've been working through some of the questions that people have submitted on Patreon. I would love to continue to do some of those episodes, and I think I love doing live shows. So it's been kind of fun when some news breaks to maybe Ken and I and Jennifer, when she can be here, do an episode about it, and then do an episode where we get more thoughts from everybody. Is great. I mean, there's an endless amount of stuff that I would love to talk about on Star Wars, and what it comes down to is the time to consume and prep. Master of Evil is on the top of my to be read list. I deeply want to read that book. I still want us to watch the Ewok movies and do episodes about the Ewok movies.
I haven't,
but it's the it's the taking the time to read them, and
So bear with us. I'm pointing to the ForceCenter lore. We each have copies of the DVDs of the Ewok movies that Joseph bought for the channel. Right before Disney Plus launched, right before they got added Disney Plus, I should say.
Watch for our Droids Deep Dive series, where we're going to do a 2-hour episode on every 20-minute episode of Droids.
Betty's right. Holiday special deep dive, please. Yeah, we'd love to do this stuff. Great. And hey, look, I think the benefit and one of the reasons that we've been around for 12 years is we know how to talk about all angles of Star Wars. We're not just a reaction channel. We're not just needing fresh stories from the thing we're covering. So we'll be here. We're not going away.
I know I've told you this. I can't remember if I've told this story on air. This is like 3 years ago, when on my friend's annual bar crawl in Minneapolis, and a friend of a friend was a little tipsy and had the "what do you do" conversation. And ForceCenter came up, and he's like, "How many episodes a week?" It's like, at that time it was 3 to 4.
Yeah.
He's just like, "No." Like, what do you mean? No, it's my life. I do it. He's like, "No, it's impossible. You can't." Like, I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "What is there to talk about? Like, it's Star Wars. You can't do 3 or 4 episodes a week." He's like, "I do." he got like irate about it, tipsy irate, like it's ridiculous. You're lying to me. This guy's just lying to me. He's claiming he talks about Star Wars 3 or 4 episodes a week. It's impossible.
It's impossible. This is why you still use the Dexter Jetster episode as the prime example of what we do. We took 2-minute scene, turned it into a 2-hour conversation that was poignant, deep, and fun. That is what we do. That is what we do. Sargard asks with a super chat, thank you. Are we getting to Bond Center and Patreon soon? Soon? No. Eventually, absolutely, because we love the Daniel Craig Bonds, and we left off there on that one there too.
There's a bunch of it would be really fun to do some non-Star Wars stuff, like we've talked about our eventual discussion of the Lion King animated film, which neither Ken and I have seen. But it would be fantastic to discuss Star Wars related films. You know, Lucas's early films, some of the films that are always talked about as inspirations. I had just like a great time doing a Book of Boba Fett double feature where I watched Quadrophenia, where those bikes directly come from Quadrophenia. They're barely even spaced up. They're the bikes from Quadrophenia. And I had never seen Quadrophenia, even though I loved The Who. And then, the Jennifer Beals dance movie.
Flashdance.
Yeah, I watched Flashdance and Quadrophenia back to back because it was a Book of Boba Fett double feature.
You're a maniac.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
On a bike, on a moped. I'm a maniac on a moped.
There you go. I think that's about it. Nothing left on the table, I think, here. So if that's it for me, that's it for me. Is that it for you, Joseph? You ready to get on to some more work?
Yeah, I got more work to do.
It's enough when people ask me, like, hey, can I get some podcasting advice? Like, how should we do it? I'm like, you need to do it every week for like 3 or 4 times. You need to do this. You must. Intentionality is the thing.
Intentionality. Yes. And you spin so many plates, Ken. You are an acrobat in a clown car.
You must be an acrobat to look like this and talk like that. Yeah. You know why? Because I only live on the microphone. I'm pretty boring off air, and this is how I communicate with the world, and including my therapy. Every Wednesday I have therapy, and I just use this setup. And one week she was like, I just feel like we're on a talk radio show. I'm like, yep, this is how I talk. This is how I talk. I got the whole setup. I feel like we're on a show, and it's going great. So that's what we do.
You're not doing BetterHelp ads for while you're having a different therapy.
This session is that's a great bit. That's a great bit. All right. That is it for this week. We appreciate y'all. Stay tuned. We're not sure what's coming the rest of the week. Live show on Friday. So we'll get on out of here. And for George Lucas, you can follow us at all the spots down below. Joseph, where can they find your YouTube channel and your short films there?
Yeah, a bunch of my short films are up on my YouTube channel, and especially as Dead Media is coming out, it'd be great to get more subscribers on YouTube. About an hour worth of entertainment from the short films now. So go check that out. Just search for Joseph Scrimshaw on YouTube. You can follow me at Joseph Scrimshaw anywhere. And if you want, check out the company that is going to be distributing Dead Media, Antenna Releasing. They're on the socials at Antenna Releasing.
There you go. So we'll start the music away. And now the end card will be George Lucas. We'll see you all next time here on ForceCenter.